So I'm Lucas Welliver, your program chair, and I'm very excited to introduce our speaker today, Dr. Andy Saultz. He is the Associate Professor Director of the Ph.D. program in Education and Leadership here at Pacific University, and this summer begins the role of interim dean of the College of Education. He has a long career of teaching with 17 years of experience at the high school, undergraduate, graduate, and doctorate level. I'm going to look through my notes here. He has taught abroad in English, teaching English in Poland, spent a summer in Ecuador, studied throughout China, and led a trip to the Dominican Republic. He's also got his bachelor's degree in political science from Oregon State, his master's in education from Lewis and Clark, and his PhD from Michigan State University. So please join me in giving a warm Rotary welcome to Dr. Andy Saultz.
Well, thank you for that kind introduction, and it is an honor to be with you all today. The Rotary Club holds a special place in my heart because my late grandfather was a member in Dayton, Ohio. And he would always tell me how meaningful the friendships and service of Rotary meant to him. Preparing my remarks today had me thinking a lot about him, and for that, I thank you all. I also wanted to thank the Rotary for the work that you all do. Forest Grove is an amazing community, and the Forest Grove Rotary's commitment to service and bettering the community is admirable. We live in a society that is all too ready to isolate, to blame, and to disengage. Rotary represents a light in a world that needs it. Thank you all for the work that you do and your continued support of our students at Pacific University. Pacific University is a special place because of the people. The students, faculty, and staff are truly incredible. A couple of those people are here today. Amy Tracewell, thank you so much for the invitation. I appreciate the work that you do for Pacific and the community. It's a joy to work with you, and I admire your commitment to building community. Your work on the foundation is rooted in relationships and building connections. Thank you, Amy. Despite only being here at Pacific for 6 months, Dr. Mark Williams has established himself as someone that students, faculty, and staff can trust. I had the honor of visiting Mark's class last semester, and teaching is a lot like leadership. You can watch people's reaction and tell a lot about the teacher. Mark's students are engaged and energetic, and they're excited to be there. Mark is an amazing scholar, mentor, and friend, and it means a lot that I'm here to watch him being inducted into Rotary. There's someone else from Pacific who's here. I think I might be forgetting somebody. President Jenny Coyle is here. Jason is here. Jason, thank you.
Andrea is here.
Andrea, thank you. I want to say a couple of words just about President Coyle as she's inducted today as well. I can't think of a person who exemplifies the principles of Rotary better than Dr. Coyle. A quick story that exemplifies her leadership. When she first got hired at Pacific University, she set up a meeting with every program and school and department at Pacific University. In my one-hour meeting with her in the Ph.D. program, she asked a few questions, and then she sat back and she listened. I've been around a lot of leaders who like to center themselves. What I appreciate about Dr. Coyle is that she is a leader that is authentic, she prioritizes diversity, equity, and inclusion, and she truly values the voice of everyone at Pacific University. Congratulations to Dr. Williams and Dr. Coyle for your induction into the Rotary. So I was asked to talk through the future of the College of Education, and as previously mentioned, I will be taking over as interim dean this summer. It's a role that I'm very honored to be in and really excited about. The College of Education's mission is to inspire professionals to value and serve individuals within their context, to advocate for justice, and to cultivate learning through inclusive and diverse community. At the College of Education, we have a culture of hard work and a culture of caring for one another. The College of Education, as I was telling Lucas earlier, has a couple of different component parts. The first is what you might think of with a College of Education. The School of Learning and Teaching, we train teachers and do scholarship on how to improve teaching and learning. We also have a School of Communication Sciences and Disorders, which advances the field of speech-language pathology through research, scholarship, and teaching. We also have, and I think Ren had to duck out here, but we have an early learning community, which is an experiential learning community for 3-year-olds through 4th graders. And finally, we have a Ph.D. program in education and leadership that is jointly housed in the College of Education and the College of Health Professions. The Ph.D. program trains researchers to be inclusive leaders. So I've worked in higher education for a long time, and I've never seen a college as integrated as the College of Education at Pacific University. While we have all these different parts, and we actually have a campus in Woodburn and Eugene, they all work together really well. I want to give you an example of that work. The other day, I was invited down to the early learning community. And I walked in the classroom and I saw our speech-language pathology faculty and students doing assessments on the little ones. The teacher of the class was mentoring a student teacher, and the student teacher was actually a master's degree student in our School of Learning and Teaching, learning how to be a teacher. I went next door, and they had a group of high school students volunteering in the early learning community from a group called Latinos in Action. Those high school students were there to learn what it's like to be a teacher and to learn about Pacific University. As you can see, all of the parts of the College of Education come together. In higher education, like many large organizations, there is a tendency to be really siloed. In the College of Education, our programs overlap, they complement, and they enhance one another. It's really, really powerful to see. But I want to take a step back, and before I talk more about the future of the College of Education, I want to talk through what public education is like in Oregon today, because you can't understand the work that we are doing without understanding the broader context. My own research is on how to make public education more equitable for all students. That is, how do we make sure that every student is getting a high-quality education? For too long, our system has been built for a small portion of students. Before I go into too much depth here, a couple of caveats. Number one, teachers are doing heroic things every day. Second, the pandemic exacerbated a lot of the inequalities that we have in our school system. The pandemic was really hard on everyone. It was really, really hard for kids as they struggled socially, as they struggled emotionally, and as they struggled academically. So with all that said, the numbers that I will present today compare Oregon's K-12 system to other states. These states are facing the same challenges with the pandemic and same historic inequities. My critique of the Oregon system is about structures and policies, not individuals doing the daily work. Our state doesn't adequately fund education. We have the shortest school year in the country. We don't have adequate pre-K or childcare options for working families. In Oregon, 81% of high school students graduate on time. That ranks 42nd in America. Oregon really struggles in literacy and math outcomes. You may know that third grade reading is really important, and actually it predicts a lot of the long-term outcomes in education that we care about. For example, a student who is not proficient in reading at the end of third grade is 4 times as likely to not graduate on time and 8 times as likely to drop out of school when compared to students who are proficient in reading by the end of 3rd grade. 39% of students are proficient in reading at the end of 3rd grade in the state of Oregon. Unfortunately, our math outcomes are also struggling. Last year, 30% of students in Oregon passed the state math exam to show that they were proficient at math in their grade level. The challenge with not being proficient in math in a given year is that so much of the content builds on itself. It's really hard to calculate the area in geometry if you don't understand algebra. Students who fall behind in math tend to have a hard time catching up. But the story is actually worse. Our system is not serving students of color well. Only 25% of black students in the state of Oregon are proficient in reading at grade level, and only 13% are proficient at math at grade level. For Latino students, 27% were proficient in reading last year at grade level, and 15% in math. Our system continues to provide inequitable opportunities across race and class and ability status. We have to do better. The future of the state of Oregon needs us to do better. Our children deserve better. The Pacific University College of Education gives me hope because I see the brilliance of our students every day. I have hope because we have an incredibly dedicated staff that will do anything to make sure that our students are taken care of. Our faculty give me hope because they make sure and to show me the way that the future of education could serve all students. What I want to do next is detail a few of the specific challenges for the state of Oregon's public education system moving forward and talk to you about the amazing things that our faculty are doing to help with these challenges. The first challenge is student mental health. Student mental health really struggled during the pandemic, as you might know, with almost 40% of kids experiencing poor mental health during the pandemic. Almost half of kids say they experienced persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness, and an astounding 20% of kids saying that they have seriously considered suicide. Doctors Carissa Marketowicz, Mark Szymanski, and Dan Riordan study how educators can use mindfulness to improve student mental health. Their research shows that incorporating mindfulness into classrooms can lead to decreased student discipline issues, increased student attendance, and ultimately, better student mental health. This work is saving lives. Another challenge is that our teacher workforce does not reflect the changing demographics in our community. Did you know that Washington County is the most diverse county in the state of Oregon?
Yes.
Over 85% of our teachers are white. Anil Oman and Martha Almendarez Langland are providing community-centered work focused on 2 things. First, they are providing diversity, equity, and inclusion workshops for current teachers. In Eugene, these workshops are so popular that they are filling up within a week or 2 of becoming available. These professors are also working with community groups to identify high school students of color interested in teaching. This is critically important work. Further, Dr. Kate Eckert and Dr. Kevin Carr are building new models of teacher education. Models that get students into classrooms faster and pay them while they're learning. The idea is that our system desperately needs teachers in certain areas like bilingual education and special education, and we need to fill these gaps as quickly as possible. These apprenticeship models are innovative, they are attracting more diverse candidates into teaching, and the state of Oregon is investing in these new approaches. You may know that the curriculum in our schools has not always been inclusive of every student's story. Students from historically marginalized backgrounds do not see themselves represented in their textbooks. This is one of the many structural problems with our system. Dr. Linda Veneziano recently wrote a book titled Cultivating Diversity Through Algebra. The book centers her research on how teachers can teach math in a way that reaches all kids. I'm thrilled that this book will be published next month. Oregon needs high-quality childcare options. I'm a father of a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I can tell you I spend way too much time worried about childcare, and it is way, way too expensive. I learned of a term that refers to a childcare desert, which is any area where there are at least 3 kids for every 1 vacancy in a childcare center. In Oregon right now, all 36 counties are classified as childcare deserts. Luckily for Pacific University and the Forest Grove community, we have an early learning community under the leadership of Ren Johns and Dr. Mark Bailey, which has grown over time and now serves almost 100 kids in our community. Having visited the ELC on numerous occasions, I can tell you they have amazing teachers, they have amazing facilities, and I would want to be in that school if I were a kid, because they have a lot of fun and they learn a great deal. The ELC plays an important role in helping our children learn and grow. Another challenge I want to talk about is the field of speech-language pathology, which does not represent the changing demographics in our community. In the state of Oregon right now, about 90% of speech-language pathologists are white and about 90% are women. But we know that the research shows us having a diverse group improves both patient and student outcomes. Dr. Carrie Mandalak is a national expert on holistic admissions. This evidence-based practice of identifying and evaluating prospective students has been incredibly effective for our School of Communication Sciences and Disorders. This past fall, CSD welcomed the first class where the majority of students were from underrepresented identities in the field of speech-language pathology. Dr. Mandalak is leading CSD to create high-quality, diverse group of graduates. And I believe this will improve the field of speech-language pathology for decades to come. The last challenge I want to share with you relates to your mission at Rotary. I believe our education system needs dedicated, selfless leaders. The Ph.D. program in education and leadership is training students to be rigorous researchers, but also to be servant leaders. 2 weeks ago, 30 students, faculty, and staff volunteered with the Blanchet House in downtown Portland to feed food to the homeless. Over 2 days, we served almost 2,000 free meals. Our faculty and students and staff have built a culture of humility, service, and compassion. And our graduates will take these attributes with them into the fields of education and health professions. The College of Education is bringing a broad range of stakeholders together to build a coalition for supporting Pacific students and for building a better education system. It will take all of us to commit to building new structures to support all kids. Business leaders, including folks from NWEA, Nike, and Intel, are working together to build a future workforce that is prepared to tackle tomorrow's issues. Nonprofit leaders from Washington County Kids and Meyer Memorial Trust and Stand for Children are coming together pushing for better childcare options and academic supports. And that's not all. The College of Education is working with elected officials like College of Education alum and chair of the House Education Committee, State Representative Courtney Neron, to build better teacher preparation programs. We are working with Pacific alum State Senator Wednesday Campos, the youngest state senator ever elected in the state of Oregon, and the only Latina state senator, to build more equitable education spaces. These political connections will allow us to move our work forward and scale it up quicker. This is all to say, if we are going to create the future our children deserve, with equitable opportunities for all, we need business and community and higher education to come together and coalesce around a vision. I see the College of Education as uniquely situated to lead that work. Higher education is at a crossroads. We have changing demographics, we have a changing economy, we have changing expectations for what higher education should be. Collectively, these faculty stories give me hope. They tell a story of a thriving college that is doing work to better a future for our state and for our kids. I wake up every morning incredibly thankful to work with faculty and staff that are driven to serve the community and doing work to improve our public education system. While many in higher education are talking about how they should innovate, how they should work to serve historically marginalized populations, how they should diversify, and how they should do work that centers the needs of the community, the Pacific University College of Education is actively doing this work now. And I am thrilled to see what our faculty, staff, and students will do next. Thank you so much. I'm happy to take any questions or comments. Yeah.
I'm wondering if the education establishment has finally reached a consensus on what's the best method of teaching reading, or is it kind of dependent on the individual student?
Great question. So you may have noticed a huge early literacy bill, which I think is going to be one of the biggest things coming out of the legislative session. There's an article in Oregon yesterday with a quote by a certain director of the Ph.D. program. So there has been a lot of work. I think there is a lot of policy momentum in investing in early literacy, because if we don't get to kids early, the problem is middle school and high school, as some of you know, teachers assign reading to learn things. And if you don't have those skills, you can't even access the information. So I think there is a lot of momentum coalescing around putting more attention on this, absolutely. Yeah.
You may know that one of the 7 areas of focus of Rotary International is literacy, as well as mother-child issues. Those are 2 separate areas. So based upon your presentation today, how would you see a partnership between the School of Education and this Rotary Club addressing a need in the community that is scalable for both of us to be successful?
Great question. I'm very excited about continuing these conversations. I think one of the things that needs to happen is, and some of the research I'm most excited about, is expanding tutoring programs and summer learning programs for kids around literacy. And so I think there's huge opportunities for Rotary and the College of Ed to partner in that work. I think the state of Oregon is going to be funding some of that work and going to need a lot of bodies to have that one-on-one attention for kids who are struggling to read. Yeah?
Along the same line, how do we, we're living in a culture now, a time where reading is becoming less and less important to the very kids that need to be able to learn this and these skills because of electronic media. And I'm wondering what moves there are being made to address that issue. It's a growing one, and I see both good and bad in the change.
Yeah, I mean, I started my career as a high school teacher, and I learned quickly, unless you can relate to kids and find something that is going to get them fired up and excited, you're not going to go anywhere. So I think there are ways to bring curriculum that speak to students, to have them read things that they get really interested in. I don't necessarily think it has to be either or. Like, you can read things on a tablet and you're still reading. So I don't think it's necessarily technology or reading, but I think you gotta first take the effort to connect with the kids and find something they're really interested in. Yeah.
In my 10 years of working for the College of Education, supervising student teachers, I just want to compliment this university because I have not come across any poor teachers. In fact, I was with one yesterday and I was marveled at his care with multicultural classroom in southeast Portland. So So compliments to your
Well, thank you. I mean, folks do a tremendous job. We're very blessed with professors and supervisors that really mentor our students a great deal.
I just have a comment. I have a master's degree in education from Pacific. And my reason I do is because at one point we had a time, and Butch might remember this when we were teaching, they said, no, we're getting rid of all the librarians, all the PE teachers, and all the music teachers, and that included me. And Pacific put together a program called Retread. And they retreaded us through, and so that we had an education degree, so that we could still have a classroom. So the background there is Pacific in the community. And then I also went 3 different years as Pacific Education Program took us into Mexico where our immigrants were coming from so that the teachers would know where they were coming from and how to teach them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's great. We have a faculty that are very creative and innovative, and so they're constantly asking, what could we be doing differently? How could we serve the community in different ways? And are really agile in that way. So thank you so much.